Hello. It is time for today's, our historical hunkered down at home, historical hunkered down at home happy holiday visit. Are you ready for it? I'm ready for it. Oh, what a day it has been. So I'd like to just take a minute to kind of like calm down, relax, so that we can enjoy our little visit. I'm just going to move this camera up a little bit. There. Now I feel a little better about it. Down. Breathe. Whatever is going on out there in the world, let it go. This is our time to sit back and enjoy our holiday together. And as I said, how's your day? My day has been quite what we call interesting today. I started out this morning, when I woke up, I went and made my coffee. Gotta have my morning coffee. And it happened to be the very last dregs of my pumpkin spice creamer. I usually do not have any flavored creamers. I will get flavored coffees, but not flavored creamers. I don't use a lot of sugar. But I decided that, for the holiday, I wanted to get myself pumpkin. So I did. And I had reached the end of the bottle. It was the very last. And I poured it out there and enjoyed the fact that I would have a day of pumpkin spice coffee. And I put the cover on and I went back to my room to prepare for my prayer time. And I sat down, I hunkered down in the bed, pulled the blankets over me, found Joyce Meyer on TV, because that's my little bit of starting off with a little bit of preacher. And then I get into my prayers. Well, I picked up the cup and I took a sip and I felt something funny. And I pulled the cup back and I looked at it. Lo and behold, there, coming out of the top of my coffee cup, was a bug. I don't know how the bug got in there. I never saw one like that before. Could have been in my powdered creamer. Could it have been in the liquid creamer? Could it have sneaked in somehow to the pot? I don't know, because I don't see many bugs around here. Had my issue with mice, but they're gone. So what did I do? I spit that bug out. And I drank my coffee. It was the last of my pumpkin spice for the year, and I wasn't going to waste it. So, how'd your day start out? I hope it started out a little bit better. I had a real mental exercise to actually enjoy the rest of my coffee, because every time I'd go to take a sip, that thought of that bug that was in there would cross my mind, and I pushed it away because there is no logic to it. If it's already in there, it's already in there. It was already dead. So get over it. Most of us are so doggone picky. I mean, we watch the cats and dogs and raccoons eat out of the trash, for God's sake. And I wonder how many times we let a little thing that's, might I say, bugging us interfere with our happy holiday or our happy day. So where did the day go from there? It's been a pretty good day. I had meetings with the Unity headquarters, or it's Unity Urban Ministerial Training School. And I did some meetings, and it always feels good to give back to my denomination. And then I just have my other things. Well, at one point, I decided to check the mail. It was past usual mail check-in time, but I decided I would check it. And I went down, and would you believe there was not one single thing for me? Not even a charity request, and I mean every charity in the world knows me. But, oh, that reminds me of a story. There was once this ship that sank. It was a passenger cruise ship. And there were two men who managed to, get to shore. And they were on a little island. There was nothing around anywhere. And the one man was so upset, and he said, "We're going to die here. We're going to die here. Nobody's going to find us." And the other guy just sat there kind of calmly, and he sat there, and he crossed his legs and looked up at the sky. And the other guy said to him, "What's wrong with you? Aren't you afraid that we're never going to get rescued?" He said, "Not me. I gave $500,000 to Red Cross Salvation Army, USO, and a lot of groups. Believe me, they're going to find me." A good example of as you give, so shall you receive. So there was nothing for me in the mailbox, and I came back and I saw a truck pull into the campground area. I saw him talk to one of the workers, and he turned around, and I caught him as he was pulling out, and I said, "Can I help you?" And he says, "It's a package delivery, but that guy over there told me to deliver it across the street." And I said, "Who's it for?" And he said, "Reverend Alicia Leslie." "That'd be me." And he handed me the box. Well, the box came from FTD. Nobody ever sends me flowers. So I got the package, and let me see if I can get it. It was these lovely flowers. Now, I'd like you to take a good look at them. They came in a pot. Inside of this container is a pot with potting soil in it. And my problem is I don't know anything about plants. For indoor plants, I call myself, I earned the title, Plant Kevorkian. It's where plants go to die. Because I don't know what to do with them. So hopefully, if you take a good look at this, it has no identifying thing on it that I could see. No instructions on whether it's a perennial and I can put it outside and how can I protect it through the winter. Or is it an annual and I should enjoy it while it's here and then it'll be gone? Do I take care of it? How do I take care of it? I'll tell you one thing. This container, it's going to be around for a long time. For sure. It's not dependent on me taking care of it. So if you know what this is, if you know how to take care of it, let me know. And then it was, oh my gosh, who would send me flowers? Well, I'm sure it wasn't some kind of lover because I don't have any. Well, come to find out, it was from the church that I served, the minister that I stood in for the past 2 months over from Torrington, Unity in the Foothills. If anybody from Unity in the Foothills is watching this, thank you so much. How do I take care of it? Just asking. So that was a lovely surprise. Gifts are so special, especially when they're totally unexpected. It was a delight. And I invite you to give people gifts over this holiday. You don't have to go, and a sign of your presence, is the gift. You might think it's a flower, but that's not a flower. That's love and gratitude in a manifest form. It is. So I want to tell you about another kind of love and gratitude in a manifest form. Let's see. In an unmanifest form. I take that back. I'm going to read you a story and tell you about how I got to this story. It's called A Cup of Christmas Tea. Many, many years ago, I was serving a church in Indiana. I was driving home from an appointment I had somewhere, and as I was driving, I had PBS on, or NPR, one of them, and I listened to this wonderful story called A Cup of Christmas Tea. I was so moved by it, I drove to the bookstore. I bought a copy of the book, and it's this book, which I've had, that had to be, like over 30 years ago. Isn't that something? I must be having fun, because they say time flies when you're having fun. Well, settle in. Grab a cookie and a little glass of milk, or a cup of tea. I recommend a cup of tea. I got my cup of tea. Even though my cup says coffee, I have my cup of tea. Settle in and relax, and together we will enjoy a cup of Christmas tea. I'll show you the pictures, just like nursery school. Remember? The log was in the fireplace, all spiced and set to burn. Doesn't that bring you back? Oh, yeah. I'm not going to show you every picture. It'll take too long. At last, the yearly Christmas race was in the clubhouse turn. The cards were in the mail, all the gifts beneath the tree, and 30 days reprieve till Visa could catch up with me. Not my problem. And though smug satisfaction seemed the order of the day, something still was nagging me and would not go away. A week before, I got a letter from my old great-aunt. It read, "Of course I'll understand completely if you can't, but if you find you have some time, how wonderful if we could have a little chat and share a cup of Christmas tea." There's that little cup of Christmas tea. I have a cup not unlike that one that was my grandmother's teacup. Many times we sat around her kitchen table and had tea that was mostly milk and sugar and enjoyed our little visits around the kitchen table. Oh, those days. Too few and far between these days. Anyway, we move on. She'd had a mild stroke that year, which crippled her left side. Though housebound now, my folks had said it hadn't hurt her pride. They said she'd love to see you. What a nice thing it would be for you to go and maybe have a cup of Christmas tea. But boy, I didn't want to go. Oh, what a bitter pill. To see an old relation and how far she'd gone downhill. I remembered her as vigorous, as funny, and as bright. I remember Christmas Eves when she regaled us half the night. I didn't want to risk that all. I didn't want the pain. I didn't need to be depressed. I didn't need the strain. And what about my brother? Why not him? She's his aunt, too. I thought I had it justified. But then, before I knew, the reasons not to go I had so painstakingly built were cracking wide and crumbling in an acid rain of guilt. I put on boots and gloves and cap, shame stinging every pore, and armed with squeegee, sand, and map, I went out my front door. I drove in from the suburbs to the older part of town. The pastels of the newer homes gave way to gray and brown. Oh, remember those old neighborhoods. They're still there today. We may not go very often, but maybe we should. I had that disembodied feeling as the car pulled up and stopped beside the wooden house that held the Christmas cup. How I got up to her door, I really couldn't tell. I watched my hand rise up and press the button on the bell. I waited, aided by my nervous rocking to and fro, and just as I was thinking I should turn around and go, I heard the rattle of the china in the hutch against the wall, the triple beat of 2 feet, and a crutch came down the hall. The clicking of the door latch and the sliding of the bolt and a little swollen struggle popped it open with a jolt. She stood there, pale and tiny, looking fragile as an egg. I forced myself from staring at the brace that held her leg. And though her thick bifocals seemed to crack and spread her eyes, their milky and refracted depths lit up with young surprise. Come in, she laughed the words. She took me by the hand, and all my fears dissolved away, as if by her command. We went inside, and then, before I knew how to react, before my eyes and ears and nose was Christmas past, alive, intact. Oh, isn't that a beautiful picture? Doesn't that bring back memories? The scent of candied oranges, of cinnamon and pine, the antique wooden soldiers in their military line, the porcelain nativity I'd always loved so much, and the Dresden and the crystal I'd been told I mustn't touch. My spirit fairly bolted like a child out of class and danced among the ornaments of calico and glass. Like magic, I was 6 again, deep in a Christmas spell, steeped in the million memories the boy inside knew well. And there among old Christmas cards, so lovingly displayed, a special place of honor for the ones we kids had made. Ah, we remember those. Maybe you have some on your fridge. And there beside her rocking chair, the center of it all, my great-aunt stood and said how nice it was I'd come to call. I sat and rattled on about the weather and the flu. She listened very patiently, then smiled and said, "What's new?" Thoughts and words began to flow. I started making sense. I lost the phony breeziness I use when I get tense. She was still passionately interested in everything I did. She was positive, encouraging, like when I was a kid. Simple generalities still sent her into fits. She demanded the specifics, the particulars, the bits. We talked about the limitations that she'd had to face. She spoke with utter candor and with humor and good grace. Then, defying the reality of crutch and straightened knee, on wings of hospitality, she flew to brew the tea. I sat alone with feelings that I hadn't felt in years. I looked around at Christmas through a thick, hot blur of tears. And the candles and the holly she'd arranged on every shelf, the impossibly good cookies she still somehow baked herself. But these rich and tactile memories became quite pale and thin when measured by the Christmas my great aunt kept deep within. Her body halved and nearly spent, but my great aunt was whole. I saw a Christmas miracle, the triumph of a soul. The triple beat of 2 feet and a crutch came down the hall. The rattle of the china in the hutch against the wall. Oh, a minute. She poured 2 cups. She smiled, and then she handed one to me. And then we settled back and had a cup of Christmas tea. Did you love it? I did. Hang on a minute. Gets me a little teary, it does. What a wonderful gift of a visit. We can't do that today. We do tend to actually stand back from those we love, that as they get older, maybe it reminds us we're getting older. Today, our visits may be limited. We may not be able to see those we love. We may, if we have loved ones in a nursing home, have to go and visit through a window. But we look forward, as I encourage you with all my heart, to really do our best to follow what is wisest, to get past this historic pandemic, to live to talk about it, to live to hug again, to live to taste the cookies and have a cup of Christmas tea. I use that story in the ministries I served just about every Christmas. The churches I served for many years would wait. They'd wait for when I would do the story. And I didn't just do the story. I actually, we made tea. We put little snack bags, and we made Russian friendship tea. And we sent it out to them, inviting them to go and visit an older relative, someone they hadn't seen in a long time, and to sit down with them and have that cup of Christmas tea. Even if they have to bring those homemade cookies themselves. We can send cookies. We can send Christmas tea. If we're lucky, we can Skype or FaceTime or Facebook Messenger video visit or whatever our options are. I wanted to share a recipe with you. I will type it in underneath in the comments section, but I wanted to share it with you. It is called Russian friendship tea. It's an antique recipe. It calls for 2 cups of Tang. I gotta tell you, that wasn't that easy to find. But I was trying to buy it online, so probably if you try to buy it in the grocery store, you'll have better luck. 1 package of lemonade powder. I would use a cup of Country Time lemonade. A 1/2 cup of instant tea. A 1/2 cup of sugar. 2½ teaspoons of cinnamon. And 1 teaspoon of ground cloves. You mix all the ingredients together, and you use 2 teaspoons in each cup, mixed with hot water. How about it? How about if you make some friendship tea and share it with someone as well as you are able? I'm going to share with you another gift. Now, you gotta bear with me. This is, let's see, 99, 2009, 2019, 21. This is 22 years old and very well used. It's a gift I gave my family one year for Christmas. Brace yourself. It's been used, okay? Used! This it says, favorite family recipes, which you can probably barely even be able to read. And on the back, it says, our family motto, where 2 or more are gathered, serve food. And that's what my family was like. I have German, Scotch, Irish, Polish roots, and especially my Polish relatives, you go to their house, you're getting fed, whether you want to or not. And so anyway, what I did was, one day I decided to make cookies. And I had realized that no one had made my grandmother's recipe for hushiki in decades. And the molasses cookies, we made them not as often probably as we should, but we made them from time to time. And I had that realization at that moment that many of the family recipes have fallen into disuse with our busy lives and everything. And I thought about those special times sitting around the table for dinner. And, you know, I decided to write a cookbook for my family. And they didn't know what was going on, but I kind of like, I'd call my relatives, my sisters, my nieces, my mom at that, my mom was still with us at that time. And so I kind of said, what recipes, what did you like best that you haven't had in a long time that Grammy made or that we used to make back in the day? And these are more antiques than they ever were before. And they gave me the recipes, not knowing what was happening. So I made this cookbook for them. There are cookbook, recipe book patterns, what do you call them, templates, that you can get. You can probably download them now. This one I had purchased the program. But I wanted to show you what I did. I hope I can do this. These, all of these in the front are recipes that I have found and fallen in love with in the years since. I did a second edition to the cookbook, but I added to it. But I haven't done it in a long time, and strange as it is for a retired person, I don't have time to do it now. But what I did was this is pictures of my family in different gatherings. I made sure everybody in the family currently at that time was in the picture. So there's pictures of couples and stuff. So I got everybody. Everyone that was in my immediate family at that time is here. And so then I made a little note about, it's my Christmas gift to you. And then I used more pictures. I went through all my albums and I took out pictures like this is appetizers and snacks. And I took pictures of people making and eating snacks. And then we've got the beverages. And so every section of the cookbook has family pictures with names so the later on generations can identify them. And it's like I said about the flowers, they are really love and gratitude, and these are events. They are the times of making gingerbread houses with the kids, and my uncle handing me a cocktail, which at that time was something you probably never even heard of, called a Presbyterian. And a Presbyterian, and I have no idea how it got that name, is ginger ale and 7-Up and a twist of, ginger ale and club soda, bourbon, and a twist of lemon peel. And that, but I see that picture with him holding out that drink and how many times he held out that cocktail. So this is a really, really precious gift. You probably couldn't knock it off for this year because it's already December. But keep that in mind, because when I gave them those books, I had the best time watching them open them and then looking at page after page after page. And then I found out to this day, like my nephew said to me, oh, I love that cookbook. I use that cookbook. You know that recipe in the cookbook? And they love it. And so I encourage you to think on that. I even had to make my grandson his own copy of the cookbook, because when I originally did it, he was like 2 years old. I never thought about him getting a copy of the family cookbook. But it's been a blessing. I got to add all those recipes, and who knows, maybe I'll do a third edition down the road, when I retire from retirement or something like that. So I hope you enjoyed my little peek into my Christmas past, this Christmas past, whatever. And you realize that everything I shared is not necessarily impacted by the coronavirus and the pandemic hysteria and everything. You can do so many things hunkered down at home. So you have a great day, and you can always watch this from the beginning in a few minutes if you came in late. You can also go to YouTube, because that's what I'm going to be doing tonight, is uploading the ones that I got behind on. Meanwhile, you have a great rest of your day, and I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Oh, wait. I wanted to share something else. Did I share this is National Roof Over Your Head Day? Yeah. Not everyone is so fortunate to have a roof over their head. So let's think of them today and see if we can find something to donate to that can help put that roof over their head. So look it up online. There will be all kinds of suggestions. God bless you. Have a good one, and I hope to see you soon.